A truly fascinating man. He started out as a court jester, but it quickly became clear he was quite skilled with a blade as well. At first, I suspected he might be a spy for an enemy kingdom, but after he saved my life one day, my perspective changed. Of course, he still could have been a spy, but I decided to keep him close and watch him carefully, just in case. In time, though, he proved to be a loyal companion. He earned my trust, and without hesitation, I knighted him. Well, it didn't surprise me much. That was Dagonet through and through. He always spoke his mind, caring little for what others might think, even when it was my judgment he questioned. Only he and Palamedes ever dared to speak their minds openly in my presence, without fear of giving offense. Dagonet was decidedly less diplomatic than Palamedes, but it was precisely that honesty I valued in them both. Besides, from the start, he had a rare gift for foreseeing how things would unfold. I dare say, he even managed to make me laugh one last time. I have no idea. The menhirs were Merlin and Nimue's domain. I was mostly just relieved they worked. Although I've always felt an odd sense of familiarity with them. I think they reacted to the power we now wield. The Four-Dweller element within us. But why and how? That's beyond even my understanding. But tell me, are you well? You were unconscious for a while. Good. That's good. You're admirably resilient. You remind me of some of my knights. The ones who helped me to build Avalon. Never surrendering, never backing down. We may not have chosen each other's company, but I'm glad it's you I ended up traveling with. A great tragedy befell the priestesses there, and to think that the strength of their faith was enough to bind a Four-Dweller. There is still so much we do not know about the true potential of the weirdness. I never imagined it could become a prison for the beings shaped by its will. But that Four-Dweller, there was something familiar about her. As if we had met before, a very long time ago. In her presence, I felt an odd sense of peace, even amid the terror that had overtaken the temple. Strange, and strangely comforting. Well, the apple has fallen far from the tree. I don't see the air of Palamedes in him. His ancestor was a ruler devoted to his people. He was even capable of defying me when the situation called for it. I always respected him for that. And Yvain, I see a man trying to please everyone. That is the gravest sin a leader can commit. Decisions are never easy, but they must be made. I see that the current Lord is trying to delay that moment, and I fear it's his people who will suffer most because of his indecision. I know much time has passed. I just hope Palamedes' bloodline wasn't diluted by the carelessness of one of Yvain's foremothers. No. My subjects were usually well disposed towards them, grateful for their magic. Merlin was held in high esteem by the common folk. Of course, there was mistrust at times, even open hostility, but never like this. Nobody was ever so twisted by hatred as to herd them into a giant wicker man and set them alight. Does it matter? As long as the result is the betterment of the people, what difference does it make? Guilt is a powerful motivator, and a useful one at that. My sisters taught me that, time and time again. It is a bold decision, and I am glad he finally made it. It was wise of him to invoke the old laws. Camelot will not dare to break them, and the men here will remain in Kuanacht, at least until the lives of its people are in immediate danger. It's an ancient law I established myself. I am glad you chose to help him. With company like this, his mission may yet succeed. Even if Yvain does not return, his actions will be remembered. Of that, I am certain. He might have been, but I don't recall us ever meeting in person. Merlin had many apprentices, and Nimue was the most gifted among them. But even she never spoke in my presence. It is possible Merlin forbade his students from speaking to me, though why he would do such a thing, I cannot say. But Orin seems devoted to a cause he believes in. It's a refreshing perspective, and unlike any we've seen so far. Honestly, I had hoped his discoveries might help me recover some of my lost memories. Sadly, they did not. I remember what Merlin and I chose to do. I simply thought I could reconstruct the reasoning behind our decision. But it seems even Orin wasn't certain of that. I regret that Merlin didn't share his thoughts and decisions with his apprentices. They might have helped us now, on this journey. I'm not ready to answer that question, and I sense the final decision won't be mine to make. You're more important than you think, and our fates are bound together to the very end. In the end, Orin's opinion may not even matter.
You're in for a world of hurt! You're no match for our band! That's all you've got! Keep your wits about ya. Give up now!
You reek of his cowardice. You've met my son, the traitor. Son of serpent, not a wolf. He called himself a son of Gunvalder, but he left us to die. By abandoning his tribe, he abandoned his true name, One Eye. They call him One Eye now. My son, a traitor, raised by myself. Curse me! A painful truth. Son, a traitor. If anyone ever speaks the name Frode aloud, this is what they'll remember. The father of a traitor and a coward. What a disgrace. Truth deserves to be known, even if it is born in pain. The dead do not forget. The Gunvalder do not forget. Tell me, do you fight with honor, or will you flee as he did? I will not let another coward escape. Honor demands blood, and if you won't offer yours willingly, I will take it. Flee if you want, but know this, the dead always catch up.
Stop! Don't come any closer. Are you alive? Or a ghost? I'm the one asking questions here. Though, looking at you now, I won't kid myself. I wouldn't stand a chance in a fight. Name's Sylvius. I've lived here many years now. What? Gods, no. I'm hiding from Del Riata, and since the war's still on, and you don't look like a Riata, I say, welcome. We can hide together. It's safe, more or less. You get used to the dark. At dusk, before the weirdness creeps in, I go out to, well, I hunt. The war with Del Riata started with the Gunvildar lot. But I heard Galahad say he'd bring in reinforcements and push on. And the Del Riata, I used to think they were savages. But even though they do fight like wild beasts, they're just people like you and me. And I'm done helping with this. That's why I'm hiding. I wondered about that too. When the order came, the Del Riata aren't the friendliest neighbors, sure, but they've never done anything to us. And they had a deal with King Arthur. They could rule their lands their way. So why the bloodshed? I thought, and finally it hit me. When you don't know what it's about gold. Or something else worth taking. So I figure those fine knights of the Round Table made a deal to bleed the Del Riata dry and keep the loot for themselves, because it's miserable back in Camelot. The city's nothing like the capital from the old stories. It's a stinking gutter. No wonder they're after coin. Well, since Camelot crushed the Gunvildar, don't know how long exactly, long enough. A few lads and I never got the retreat order. They left without us. We had no choice. We had to hide, had to survive. I made it because I was stubborn. The others, they gave up, walked out, never came back. That's how I know the war is still going. And nothing will drag me out of this cave. What? No, that can't be. I hear battle sounds every day. They're so loud. Feels like the war's going on just over the hill. But the weirdness comes at night. And what happened to Gunvildar Keep? That was a massacre. Maybe it is the weirdness. I've heard it can bring your worst fears to life. Thought that was just stories for kids. I don't know what to think anymore. Who knows? They left me, you know, just left. I've been alone ever since. Alone in this awful place. Too scared to walk more than a few steps from the cave. So many years. And now what? What am I even supposed to do? If I go back home, they'll think I'm a spy. They'll hang me before I say a word. But if I stay, I'll die here, alone. When you leave, I might never speak to anyone again. I'll just rot here in this dark, cold cave. That's true. This place grew on me. I know what's edible, what's not. Found a few books on the battlefield. I read them, or I daydream. That's nice too, sometimes. People never really like them much. And I think I've spilled enough Del Riata blood to last a lifetime. So maybe this is my penance. Could be worse, right? Before we part ways, I'll give you the location of a stash. left behind by our old legate, one of Galahad's close men. His treasures weren't any use to me, not in the state I've been living in, and I don't have the strength to carry any of it now, so I'm passing it on to you for talking with me. It really helped. Thank you. You know, remorse, nasty things. Not that hard to kill, though, if you know where to hit.
It's crawling with monsters up there, isn't it? I'm hiding here to get my strength back before moving on. They call me Runner because I'm a fast runner. If I were still with my tribe, I'd have introduced myself as Shabba. But Scarron the Skin Taker gave me that name, and I just got used to it. Not really. My greatest sin was being a Gunvalder who survived. None of the other tribes would take me in. They think my survival goes against everything the Delrita stand for. Can you believe that? As if surviving is beneath the Delrita. Who needs us dead? Only the worms in the ground. So I joined Scarron the Skin Taker's band. We were like a family, until Scarron decided there was no place for me in his ranks. He's the top dog around here. After I joined him, he called me Runner. Said it was for how fast I run away from a fight. He's one mean son of a bitch. At first, it seemed like we all shared the same idea, uniting the Delrita, even the Nameless ones. But over time, he started losing it. He sees conspiracies everywhere, trusts no one, stuff like that. I think the power got to his head. I've heard it happens sometimes. Out of here. Anywhere. The farther the better. I've got just one last piece of unfinished business keeping me in these lands. But I need a lot more strength before I finish my mission. And all these monsters sure aren't making things any easier. I want to get rid of Scarron the Skin Taker. He shouldn't rule over anyone, and he certainly shouldn't try to unite all the scattered nameless under his banner. But if he succeeds, the way he is now, he'd have us attacking our own brothers. I've had enough bloodshed. One Eye's off to his war, and word is that Gurfhan wants to call the moot and go to war with Camelot. Or with One Eye for going after Camelot. Either way, it ends with us spilling more of our own blood. But it's the truth. And I was thinking, if you're willing, we could make a deal. You see,